What's going on, everyone? Just thought I'd do a little bit of a video. I had some interesting questions asked to me in regards to the Olympic Games. I did a video a little while back on Lasha and, him being the greatest of all time, but also his 500 kilo total coming into the Olympics this year. And we're in Australia now. We are the eve or the day of the opening ceremony. So I want to start off by just wishing all the Australian athletes a great Olympics. I think we have a team of 5 over there this year, so I wish them all the best. I believe, from just looking at the list we have here, a good friend of mine, Erica Yamazaki, who I've known since I was a young lifter, will be at the Games, and I wish her the best of luck. Kiana Elliott, who is a South Australian, New South Wales born, but South Australian lifter, which is great. Charisma, Brendan Wakeland, and Matthew Lindemann. So I wish them all the best of luck in their categories and hope they'll do fantastically well. In regards to the overall thing, so the question I was asked was, what are my thoughts on the weightlifting at the 2021 Tokyo Olympics, on the athletes' mindsets going in to a lockdown style facility, but also to be lifting in front of a crowd of 0? What is my thoughts on that, and how I think the athletes will prepare, and how I feel like the results will be because of that. I guess the biggest thing to come out of something like this is, in these big events and big shows and stuff like that, I've been very lucky in my career to compete in some massive crowds of 20,000 people watching an event. The feeling you get inside a massive auditorium or at a massive sort of event is you get this big rush of adrenaline when you walk out onto the platform or onto the starting line or whatever you're doing. And it's just a very, very surreal feeling. And it very much gives you that big pump up to do really, really well. And it gets your adrenaline just going through the roof. But every time you walk back out there to do your lift or to do your attempt, you get that big adrenaline rush every single time. So you have these huge ups, huge downs, huge ups, huge downs between things. And it's about how well you can maintain that through the whole competition. But they're not going to have that this year. We're not going to have a crowd in the events from what I gather. I did read CNN are not even going to put noises in the background. So when you watch their coverage to the Olympics this year, they won't dub crowd noise over the top. So it's just going to be a dead silent room, and they're going to be lifting in a dead silent room. It's one of those things where I feel extremely bad for the lifters, especially because you're lifting to no one and no crowd. All I know is this is going to be a bumpy year for all the TV companies and that who have got the rights to the Olympics anywhere in the world. So I'm assuming Channel 7 is going to have a fantastic year here in Australia with the rights to the Olympics, because everyone will be watching the Olympics rather than actually being at them. So I guess in that sense, it's going to be how the athlete can build themselves up into the event. This has been probably a long time coming for the lifters. They've probably known this for a while, just like we all have. So they've had plenty of time to get their mindset to the thought process of, what I need to do. And these guys aren't beginners. These aren't first-timers that have never stepped on a platform before. These are experienced lifters with lots of talent, lots of ability. So I feel like, in a way, I don't feel like you're going to see these huge, massive world records or anything like that. But again, I could be totally wrong. This could be one of those things where some lifters who actually enjoy quiet and enjoy the, relaxed style of competition with no noise and stuff like that, could be a time for them to shine. So it's very much dependent on the lifter themselves. I guess personally, if it was me, the crowd always made me a better lifter, a better athlete. I always tended to do better with a massive crowd of people around me versus a subdued quietness. I just felt like that didn't really get the excitement levels up and the adrenaline levels up. So for me personally, it probably wouldn't be the best situation, but I do know a lot of lifters that just love perfect quietness so they can just get their mindset into what they need to do, and they excel like that. So this could be an Olympics for them that could be huge results for some of them, and it could be one of those results where the guys like myself who need that crowd to thrive off of actually do worse. So it's going to be a very interesting one to see the lifters who succeed and the lifters who sort of struggle with that sense of things. So I guess it's yet to be seen. The first class, I believe, is on tomorrow, the 49 kilo women. And yeah, it's going to be, like I said, very interesting to see the athletes that succeed and the mindset that they use. You know, we've got such a huge level of athletes. You know, I think the biggest thing that most people are going to want to see is Lasha. I feel like in strength sports around the world, he is probably the biggest name in strength sports. And I mean any strength sports. I mean powerlifting, strongman, weightlifting, Highland Games, whatever you want to call. I believe Lasha is the biggest superstar in the world right now and the person that most people want to see. Nothing against Tom Stoltman and the guys at World's Strongest Man, but you know, they're just, you know, they just can't stand up to what Lasha's been doing in weightlifting. Then you got Shiji and that in the Chinese camp who are obviously there and ready to kick butt, and then the American team looks like they're coming in very, very strong this year as well with CJ and Maddie. You know, with their results in the women's section as well, there's going to be some absolutely great competitions there. I've just got my laptop in front of me here, just going through some of the names that I can see up on here. So, you know, Lydia from Spain will also be there. You know, there's just so many lifters with huge talent. Unfortunately, due to the way that the IWF has done selections this year, so many of the good guys have missed out because you can only select one or so from your country. So there's just so many good lifters that are missing out. And obviously Russia with their ban, they won't have any of their lifters there. So there is some big holes in the lineup. But again, it's going to be, I believe, the athlete with the best mental game that wins Tokyo 2021. I believe the mindset of the lifters is going to be almost more, you know, than the physical side, because again, someone like Lasha's walking into this with an overwhelming lead on everybody else. As I see the Brazilian Reese is out testing positive, so he's I believe was probably second to Lasha, but he was still about 40 kilos behind or 20 odd kilos behind in the total. So, you know, a long way back for him to even chase that down. And then some of the other classes as well. You know, Australia, we missed out on having Aileen at the Olympics, and it would have been great to see her there going up against Maddie Rogers and, you know, having a hit out with her. So, yeah, look, at my overall theory is, like I said, the question was asked, how are the athletes going to handle having no crowds? What's their mindset going to be? How do they deal with that type of things? Well, again, 2021 seems to be the year of the mental game, how the coaches can keep their athletes positive, keep their mindset up. Remember, this is not just something they've prepped for a year for. As I was saying before, this is a long-term thing these guys have been working at for 5 years, 10 years. You know, their whole lives come down to this moment. So again, as I look at it, it's a bit of a shit thing that there's no crowd. It will make things a little bit less sort of up vibe for the lifters, and you know, and a little bit sort of you know, on the down on that side of things. But again, this could really show some real tough mental athletes at this Olympics, not just in weightlifting, but in all the other sports. But I'm looking forward to seeing the results. It has been a very interesting lead into the 2021 Olympics. And again, my biggest love to the Australian team. Best of luck, and to all the lifters. I hope to see some great lifts and some great results. And like I said, being the typical super heavyweight that I am, I just want to see Lasha go out and just absolutely dominate, and would love to see him have a crack at that 500 kilo total, but I very much doubt he needs it. So if you want to watch that video, I have done it. It should be in my videos, and I might chuck it in the link below so you can see my thoughts on Lasha's 500 kilo total. But hopefully that's answered the question of what my thoughts are on the athletes going in and their thought processes and mindsets. Yeah, the year of the mental game. All right, guys, I'll keep people updated as the Olympics goes along and give my thoughts on classes and stuff like that. Probably the ones that the Australians have been in, as I do know a few of them. So we will see what 2021 brings. So wherever you are in the world, stay safe, be healthy, wealthy and wise, and more updates to come. Take care.